Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
In a world where Big Pharma writes the script, it's time to believe. Biohack. Become.
We're here to explore the truth about healing that exists outside the broken medical system, to give you the knowledge, the community, and the strategies you need to become the hero of your own health story.
Your guide is a biohacking entrepreneur, a near-death survivor, and a cancer warrior navigating his own healing journey. Founder of Biohackingville, Exodus Strong, and QE Strong. Your host, Rob Renee. This is Biohackingville, where the medical system has failed us. One man is leading the rebellion to reclaim.
Hey, welcome to Biohackingville episode. I'm so excited. This is going to be a fun one because we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart, which is molecular hydrogen. It's an amazing component that has amazing benefits. So lots of amazing words. But anyway, I'm real excited about it because it's something I've been studying for quite some time now. And it's really impactful on a lot of people's health. And when I out in the normal, world and talking to people, very few people understand hydrogen, and then even more people don't understand molecular hydrogen. So I thought it would be a really smart thing to do was to just spend some time on what is molecular hydrogen, and then why do we even care about it, and then what could it potentially do for us, and then how do you actually use it? And so I think those are some practical tips and things that's going to really help you. So I think it's going to be an exciting episode because you're going to learn a lot because it's stuff that I had no clue about a few years ago, and I've been really blessed to learn from amazing people about this incredible element that is really is exciting. So as you may know, hydrogen is the smallest element, right? On the periodic table, you back in chemistry class and you look at the periodic table, and H is that first one. And it's the smallest element that God created, right? So it's my belief that God created the entire universe, and one of the things that He created is hydrogen, and it literally is the smallest molecule, and that's important. And we'll talk about that later on as we dig into how molecular hydrogen helps the human body. But it is important to also understand that just hydrogen is very abundant, right? Hydrogen is everywhere, and it's also very, very small. So, and it's interesting to, as you do the research, to find out that there's not a lot of research that's been done in the past about hydrogen. So it's really relatively over the last 5 or 6 years, maybe a little longer than that. People have been really digging in and doing a lot of research on it because there are so many benefits of molecular hydrogen in the body. So as I was introduced to it, I was doing research on biblical herbs and superfoods in the Bible. As I was working on my health journey, how can I improve my health? And I was doing a lot of research on the Bible. I was reading the Bible all the time. And I was fascinated with how many herbs and superfoods were in the Bible. And so I was digging into those, and later on in the episode, we'll actually talk about 7 of those ingredients that were really impactful. But as I was doing that research, I was literally praying, saying, "Hey, Lord, help me find something that's going to help the world." And just trying to find something that was unique and that could really help people. And so that was my heart, right? And that's what we were looking at. And there's lots and lots of ingredients in the Bible. And there's lots of references in the Bible about healing and using herbs and actually sustaining yourself from the foods that God put on on this planet for us. So that's where my digging in. And when I was a young athlete, I used to be a runner of all things. When I was young, I read a book called Eat to Win. And that book was really impactful for me as a runner, because what it told me was, the stuff that you actually put in your body is the fuel to your body. And a lot of people understand that now, but at the same point, you don't practice it, right? Because you put a lot of crap inside your body. If you really did understand that what you put in your body, it becomes you and you become it, then you probably wouldn't be eating near as much of the crap that you have. But it is, our society's gotten really hard to eat well because of the ultra processed food. As you dig into this world, 70% of our food in the United States is ultra processed food. So that really basically means it's food that's produced that is really, really far away from the origin of it. And so there's very few nutrients in ultra processed food. And it's there to satiate you for a short time. But then really, interestingly enough as well, a lot of the foods have been designed to be addictive. So it's a design for you to want more of that particular thing. And most of that thing is not healthy for you. So but basically the reason why I went through that whole diatribe was to talk about nutrition. Nutrition is very important, and what we put in our bodies is very important. And I was doing a lot of research related to that. How can I help the world, right? And so as I was digging into those nutrients and ingredients, God is really good. God introduced me to a health practitioner in California who'd been working with this ingredient called molecular hydrogen. And when I first was introduced to him, he mentioned that he's been working with this product, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds very interesting to me. Tell me more." And so he started walking through some of the benefits of the product, and I was like, my eyes were peaked. I'm like, that sounds really good, but let's see some proof. Right. Let's dig into this a little bit. And that's, as another really quick side story. One of the things that you'll find and you'll learn about me is I don't believe almost anything when I first hear it anymore. After I learned about how a lot of our information in our society is controlled and it's bought for and paid for, but a lot of the research, a lot of the doctors, a lot of the science, and just a lot of the media organizations have been tainted, and it's a information propaganda that we're listening to a lot of times. And so as you understand that, you really realize that you can't listen to a lot of information out there because it has an intent that is not necessarily accurate and or true. And so a lot of information is just bad. Period. So with that preface, I'd come at all things scientifically with a pessimistic attitude that I gotta understand it myself. Then I have to go vet it against my resources that I have defined, right, and things that I've researched. And I after a while, when you start digging into all natural health specifically, you find resources that you can trust. And it takes a while because they're not necessarily easy to find. And so I do a lot of that. I take in information and I start going against the resources that I've gathered to validate certain things. So hydrogen was a great example of that. It's like, okay, so hydrogen came in and I started trying to understand hydrogen. I'm like, okay, let's understand what it is. And then let's understand what molecular hydrogen it is. And then what are the benefits of that product? And so, or of that, element. This is a better way to say it. So I did that. And what the fun thing for me is the research I did do was pretty awesome. And I'll actually share some of these resources that with you that I think you really, really like. There's a resource called hydrogenstudies.com. And when you go to hydrogenstudies.com, there's literally thousands of research reports that have been done related to hydrogen. And then you can go to molecular hydrogen, or I'm sorry, molecular hydrogen, or let's see, hydrogenstudies.com and then molecularhydrogenstudies.com. Molecular hydrogen obviously is focused on just molecular hydrogen. Hydrogen studies talking about all hydrogen. But the neat thing about those two websites is it's just research reports that have been done on those ingredients. There's literally thousands of them. And so you start reading through it, and it's very, very impressive with the benefits of hydrogen in rats and animals and other things, but then also into humans. There's been lots of studies related to that. And then a third resource I like to point people to is the Molecular Hydrogen Institute. So there's literally an institute that has been put together, and I don't know if it's profit or nonprofit, but it is run by a whole group of folks who just all they do is they research molecular hydrogen, and they go and speak about molecular hydrogen all across the globe. They have certification programs. I'm actually a certified molecular hydrogen specialist, because I've gone through the certification to understand it. So they have courses and the whole shebang. So I've done that, but when you start researching the benefits of it, it becomes unmistakable of how important this particular product is and this element is in health, if you can figure out ways to utilize it. So I'm going to walk through that today. I'm going to walk through some of the major benefits of molecular hydrogen, and then how do you get molecular hydrogen inside the body. And then if we have time, I'll walk through what we did with Exodus, because Exodus is a product that we created that has molecular hydrogen in it, but then it's got 7 different biblical herbs and superfoods that complement the molecular hydrogen and has a number of healthy benefits. So we'll dig into that. But I wanted to focus on molecular hydrogen first. So I'm going to share my screen and talk through a couple of slides. Let me see if I can get these slides up first, and then sorry for my rambling, but I'm going to do this present and then see if I can get back to you. No, that did not work. So let's do it again this way. Share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Actually, I'm going to share that. Sorry. Slide, video, slides. Oh, that's not the right one. So I'm going to have to do my screen. So here we go. Oh my gosh, where in the heck is it? So let me just do my whole entire screen. Sorry for the delay. Here we go. We are sharing this molecular hydrogen slide, and I'm going to present it. All right, there we go. There's a nice delay of 4 minutes or whatever. Sorry about that. But this is the ultimate guide to molecular hydrogen, unlocking the therapeutic potential of the universe's smallest element. So this is really fun. So if we walk through this this presentation, in fact, now I can't even navigate the presentation. So we're just batting 1,000 here, aren't we? So this is a quick one. This slide is pretty cool. It kind of walks through 4 or 5 different concepts, so I can at least walk through that. So some of the health benefits you get is it's a potent antioxidant. And so I'll explain what that means in a minute. And then it has powerful anti-inflammatory effects. And why is that important? I'll also talk about that in a few minutes. And this is a really, really important one. It enhances the cellular health. That is very, very important as we talk about. I'm literally talking with some stem cell organizations who they have an amazing organization who takes does stem cell injections for people for their health. And I was talking about molecular hydrogen and how it helps with the cellular enhancement. And they're excited to actually introduce my Exodus product to all of their patients, because as their stem cells are working within the body for them to regenerate, things in their knees and their elbows and their backs, that molecular hydrogen actually assists and aids in that, which is, I think, is really cool. The other thing is, how do you get it in the body, right? This is really important. We're going to talk about that. There's ways to inhale it into your lungs. There's also, you can drink it, get it into your stomach. And we're going to talk about this one specifically because that's a really important differentiator of our Exodus product, is how you actually get it into the body. And you can even bathe in it, which I thought was really intriguing. And then you can infuse it. You can put it into saline and get it into the bloodstream that way. So molecular hydrogen is super cool. Now let's talk about what does it mean, right? The master regulator. This is where it's really cool. So I mentioned the antioxidant. An antioxidant just gets rid of stuff within the bloodstream. And so an antioxidant can be bad because it can get rid of good stuff too. So the really impressive thing about molecular hydrogen is this word. It's a selective antioxidant. So what that means is it goes and finds the sentient cells or the zombie cells that are in your bloodstream and attaches to those and helps extract those bad cells from your body. But it helps the mitochondrial process work more efficiently and effectively within the body. So it helps your good cells work better, and it gets rid of the bad stuff. So that's where it's super, super cool. The technical terms are, neutralizes toxic hydroxyl radicals without disrupting essential signaling ROS. So I think that's a better technical term if you're a technical person. The mitochondrial protection, right, maintains respiratory chain functions and ATP synthesis, right? ATP you've heard of probably before, right? That's what's the energy within the body. So that's how it works. But then the effects, what does that do for us? And the big one is this anti-inflammatory thing. So that's where it's really, really impressive. It suppresses the pro-inflammatory cytokines. And then from a neuroprotection, this is another really important fact, is molecular hydrogen is so small that it goes into the, now let's see if I can stop sharing my screen. So can we put it back on to me? So the neat thing about that selective antioxidant, right, gets rid of the bad stuff and then helps the good work better. But the fun thing about the anti-inflammatory component that's really, really important is the source of all disease is inflammation. And that's, as part of this podcast, I interview a lot of holistic health practitioners. And they literally all tell me that, your health really starts in your gut, right? You need your gut working well. And then when your gut starts working well, your other organs start working well. And then your body does how God designed it, right? Your body is designed to heal. And inflammation, when you have inflammation, if you look at all disease, the actual source, the beginning part of that disease stems from inflammation. So inflammation is bad. We really do not want things inflamed within the body. So the fact that molecular hydrogen goes in and is an anti-inflammatory for your blood stream is very, very important. And then the one thing that I was starting to mention as I transitioned screens was the blood-brain barrier. This is really important because there's different ways to get hydrogen into the body. And it's also, remember I was telling you, it helps with the neuroplastic thing. I want to tell you, remember the term, but neuroplasticity or something. But the brain is really important. So this is really helpful for people with brain issues, right? And there's people that with dementia and Alzheimer's and other things where molecular hydrogen is showing to be effective assistance in either elongating the process that people have. There's been no cures obviously yet, but it is very, very helpful for treatments with some of those neurological diseases because it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it will go into the bloodstream because those little micro nanobubbles will get into the brain, which is so really, really impactful. Not only does it help your bloodstream everywhere, but it all crosses that blood-brain barrier. You've probably heard of that before. So that's why molecular hydrogen is very, very important for the brain, and it's very, very important for reducing inflammation. So reduce inflammation is good for your body. And so, and then if you can get it into the brain, even better. So I thought that is super duper important. And that last slide I was on, it showed you there's 4 ways to get it, right? We talked about the inhalation. So you can use the machine, you can hook up to the machine, and it can pump out hydrogen. And then you inhale it, and it goes into your lungs, right? And then once it goes into your lungs, then it can get dispersed into your bloodstream. The problem with that is it takes a while, but then it's harder to get into the bloodstream from the lungs. At least this is the research that I've been reading. And then, so the other way is to do it is to drink it. So, and then there's multiple ways to do this. They have the little machines where you click a button and it creates hydrogen water. And then you drink the hydrogen water, goes into your stomach, your body assimilates it. There's a problem with that, however. So we'll talk about that in a second. The second one is to use a water, just water in a tablet. So you put a tablet in water, and it takes a couple of minutes. You have to sit there and wait for the tablet to dissolve. And as it's dissolving, it's creating hydrogen in the water. And that is effective, and it is good. And you can get quite a bit of parts per million in hydrogen water via tablets. So that is an effective way to do it. And then when you drink it, it goes into the stomach, and then your body assimilates it, gets into your bloodstream that way. So now let's talk about the problems with water. The problem with water is when you do like the hydrogen machine, you click the button and it creates hydrogen. It creates it, but then it starts diffusing immediately. So if you don't drink it immediately, if you let it sit there for a short period of time, even, it starts diffusing. So the parts per million just start going down, and then really quickly you have no hydrogen in there, and you think you're drinking this great hydrogen water, and you're drinking water. There's no added benefit of hydrogen in it. And then the tablets have a similar issue in the respect that, but if you don't drink it right away, one, you have to kind of time it because it takes a few minutes for it to dissolve, and then it's like, oh crap, I got busy and brushing my teeth, and all of a sudden I forget, and I didn't drink it. Guess what? If you don't, as after it creates it, it starts diffusing as well. And so that is also an issue with the tablets, is you have to time it right, and then you have to drink it immediately in order for it to have the good effect within the body. Now, there's a third way with the stomach. This is what we prefer with this Exodus product. So Exodus, there we go. Exodus is our product, and it's just simple capsules. But the beautiful thing about these capsules, see these little just capsules, they go into your obviously your mouth and through your esophagus into your stomach. Then when your stomach dissolves the capsule, it interacts with it's a magnesium blend within the product. It's a patented product that then your body creates the molecular hydrogen. So it's the interaction with your bodily fluid where the reaction comes off that creates the hydrogen. So that's where the magic is, because since your body's creating the hydrogen, then your body assimilates it. So it's much, much more impactful than if you drink it and or use a tablet and or inhale it. So the best way is to do it with an infusion and get the molecular hydrogen directly into the bloodstream. However, not very many of us have an IV and have the ability to get the molecular hydrogen in the actual saline solution. So that's a very expensive and time-consuming and difficult process compared to taking a couple of capsules every day. So, but it is an important distinction. So getting it into the body, and then what happens when you get it into the body, right? That's when it becomes that selective antioxidant. That's where it's so powerful, right? Then it goes crosses the blood-brain barrier and starts doing things within the blood-brain barrier, etc. So I'm going to just look back at my presentation. There's a couple of other slides I wanted to go through I thought were important. Let me just see if those make sense to dig through now. One, we talk about it's the lightest and smallest, and that's really important because of that blood-brain barrier thing, right? A lot of medications can't cross the blood-brain barrier, so it's doesn't help the brain. And then the other thing was just the oxidative stress and inflammation. We walked through some of that. So those were the main things I wanted to explain with molecular hydrogen, right? But I wanted to show you and walk through a couple of those websites, because the websites are pretty impactful, and there's just great resources. So if you're interested in hydrogen therapy, molecular hydrogen, you're going to want to go to these particular websites. So I'm going to walk through them with you and just show you a couple of those, because you're going to like these. So I'm going to can we go back to my screen? There we go. All right, so we're going to look at this hydrogen studies. Is the first one. So if you go to hydrogenstudies.com, you're going to come up with this site. It's like, boom, here it is. And then it's got studies. There's 1,335 studies that are collected here. And the neat thing is you can just search for the study by name if you know the name of the study, or by subject, or by body part. So if you can say, you want to say, hey, I want to look at cancer studies in 2020, or I want to look at brain studies. I want to look at studies about pregnancy. You can do all of these things. Let's just do the word pain, because that's a common one that I hear people talk about, right? So you can search for pain, and it shows you down here all the different studies. Literally, there's 33 studies that were related to pain. And so it talks about the year this study was published, and then you can dig in and read the actual study itself. And so this one's talking about post-operative pain is a serious clinical problem. And then it talks about how this molecular hydrogen was tested, and then how it was actually used, and then what were the results of that. So it's pretty cool that you can dig into these, but I just like it because it has so many different things. You can search by years, you can search by only human subjects, you can search by how does it help with dogs, right? And all different types of things. But there's 239 human studies, right, on molecular hydrogen. So you can do just pain and humans, and search for that. And there's 14 of them that are related to specific studies that have been done, that have been published, and related to pain and humans in this particular example. So you can go look at that and say, look, wow, this is cool. Tells you the objective of the study, the results of the study, and then the conclusion, and when it was done, and who did the study. So that's a great resource, because there's lots of information there, and that really help. And then molecularhydrogenstudies.com, these are all specific to molecular hydrogen. And this is pretty cool too, because there's 600 plus studies here. And they've done 20 trials and 300 and some patients, lots and lots of studies related to it. And then you can dig in, you can search for them, and you can also just start looking at this one, like a hydrogen for metabolic fitness and overweight women. Here's the study that was done. And you can go look at that particular study. And this particular study has molecular hydrogen affects the body composition, metabolic profiles, and mitochondrial function in middle-aged overweight women. And then it walks through the details of this particular study, and then gives you, graphics and charts and where it was published, etc. So another fantastic resource is molecularhydrogenstudies.com. And then this institute is pretty awesome too. So if you go to MHI, Molecular Hydrogen Institute, it's molecularhydrogeninstitute.org, and it has a whole community around molecular hydrogen. So you can look at the latest articles that have been published. They have you can search their research and their scientific studies. You can become certified. Like I think I'm level 1 certified, if I remember right, what I've done so far. And then there's an actual community. There's courses you can take. There's lots of groundbreaking studies and research they've done. Right, and they focus on research and educating people about it and just getting awareness out to the world, right? And here's what they say about what is molecular hydrogen. And from their perspective, the research is early. There's only 3,000, early, and there's still 3,000 scientific studies, right? Including over 200 clinical studies that suggest H2, which is molecular hydrogen, as a therapeutic potential in over 200 different human and animal disease controlled models. So it does, they're saying molecular hydrogen is a tasteless, odorless, flammable gas, and it reduces oxidative stress, improves redox homeostasis, partly mediated via the NRF2 pathway. And then H2, like other gases, signaling molecules, modulates signal transduction, protein phosphorylated, I don't know how to say that, and gene expression, which provides an anti-inflammatory, anti-allergy, anti-apoptotic protective effects. So really, really cool stuff. So I wanted to, let's go ahead and let's go to this. Actually, I'm going to jump into the presentation here, which is going to talk about I wanted to transition from molecular hydrogen to these other botanicals. So like if you look at molecular hydrogen, which we've gone through, for the last 30 minutes, walk through the details of what is molecular hydrogen, what are the major benefits of it. We talked about those, and how do you get it in the body. So those are the ways to do it. And now what we did, which was pretty fun, is as I was doing all the research on the botanical ingredients in the Bible, is I wanted to take the 7 best ingredients in the Bible that complement what molecular hydrogen do to help the human body. And so this is what we did. It's really fun. The convergence of biblical botanicals and molecular hydrogen in modern medicine. So we're really talking about combining, really specific modern technology with ancient medicine. And so what is this doing? And there's been lots of studies done on brain studies related to it. And it's been rheumatology, right? And people with osteoarthritis, as well as cardiovascular support and things that it's helped with. So there are lots of benefits. And we could talk through these specific ingredients and why we did it, because the synergy is really, really exciting. What we chose with Exodus was these 7 ingredients. There's wheatgrass, there's barley grass, there's frankincense and myrrh and saffron and cumin and aloe vera. And so this chart is awesome because it talks about what the primary benefit of the ingredient is, And then what is the mechanism, right? Why is that? Why does that help? And then the cool thing too is it talks about the synergy with the molecular hydrogen. So not only do these things help in and of themselves, but it actually is synergistic when it comes to working with molecular hydrogen. So it actually enhances the things. So it's really fun. So if you look at wheatgrass, it helps with detox. So wheatgrass and barley grass give you the nutrients that your body is missing, especially in the ultra processed world that we live in today. None of us are getting enough nutrients, right? You're supposed to get 96 nutrients every day, and very few of us are doing that. So having barley grass and wheatgrass help with getting the base nutrients that you need during the day. Then the next one I like to talk about is saffron. Saffron is really good for neural protection because it's really good for the brain, and it's really heavily used in anxiety and stress reduction. And that's also the most expensive element that is part of our product. But saffron is actually more expensive than gold. So it's very expensive product and component, but has lots and lots of benefits. So we're really super excited about it. So we already talked about the blood-brain barrier and the benefits of molecular hydrogen. Then you add saffron and how it helps with the body. Is like combined BBB crossing, blood-brain barrier crossing, and enhances neurogenesis. So super exciting with that one. And then cumin, really good for your heart health. And then the aloe vera, very good for your gut health. And then myrrh and frankincense and myrrh help with the analgesia is the myrrh, but inflammation. Again, there's that inflammation one. Is why it's so flippant important to the body, and this molecular hydrogen and the biblical ingredients that we include in Exodus, because the anti-inflammatory capabilities. So I think that's really important. We can look at the future, why, how it helps over time, because I think that's really important too. One is it really helps with the redox process, helps form a barrier protections for your cells. So I think that's really important to seal the gut and brain. So a lot of people, you've heard of maybe leaky gut, and both molecular hydrogen and aloe help that barrier in your gut, so you can prevent having that leaky gut syndrome. And then, just like we talked about already, Farley, multiple times, is the inflammation modulation, right? So having a multi-targeted approach to inhibit inflammation, because that, if we talked about, is the source of all disease. Let's get rid of inflammation, period. Very important. And then the fourth one, vitality, right? Leveraging until this is just energy, right? We're all lacking energy, especially as our bodies get older, and as we go throughout even the day, our energy starts reducing. And this really product gives you sustained energy, right? Molecular hydrogen helps with the energy with your ATP process, and then you add the nutrients that you get from Exodus, and it's just unbelievable. Of how it helps your energy levels. So that's been my brother, and my major benefit of Exodus is sustained energy throughout the day. I have a heart condition called bradycardia, and about 2:00 in the afternoon, I always had to take a nap. And ever since I've taken Exodus, I do not have to take that afternoon nap. I've actually since fixed my bradycardia, so I don't have that anymore. But for over a year and a half, I was using Exodus for that specific purpose. And so my brother uses it the same way, as an energy thing in the afternoon. He'll take the capsules, and it really helps sustain his energy in the afternoon. So, and then here's a bunch of references. I can get these slides to you if you're interested, just to talk about the other things, that research that's been done on this incredible combination of products. So actually, I did want to go through one more little quick thing. So since we're here talking about Exodus, I'll just do where is it's not presenting. So, share, I guess this is not oh, there it is, present. All right. So one of the big reasons on why are we doing creating this product, right? And this is the big problem is because as I was doing research on pain, I as part of my podcast, I interview a lot of I mentioned holistic practitioners, and we talk about not only molecular hydrogen, but we talk about all sorts of things with health. But pain has been a really big problem, fatigue and pain. And when I was doing research on that, the attachment to big pharma medication is just an unsurmountable problem we have in our country. The average senior is on 15 different prescription medications in a year. So that's the average. So our just over reliance on these pharmaceuticals is really killing us as a society. So that's really, really bad. And we want to start, staying away from that. And then there's just a lot of stress, right? As you watch the news, and there's nothing but bad news, and we're all overworked and we're underpaid, so on and so forth. And so there's lots and lots of stress going on in our current world, and we really believe that health is our wealth. So that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing, is to try to help people, right? And this Exodus product that we created, not only do we have those 7 biblical ingredients and then molecular hydrogen, another important aspect to what we do is a prayer guide, because we want to include the mind, body, spirit connection to it. So we'll talk about that in a minute, because that is another important benefit. But we talked about the mineral blend with those 7 biblical ingredients with molecular hydrogen. And then here's a great overview of it. So it talks about frankincense, and where do you see, what are the benefits of frankincense, right? Calms the nervous system. You look at myrrh, it helps reduce anxiousness. And then, myrrh is in Exodus 30:23, right? You can look up those scriptures if you're interested. Saffron, we talked about this, it supports a healthy mood, right? It's an antioxidant rich, and it supports even eye health. So this slide is pretty awesome. The cumin helps the digestive health, as well as aloe. We talked about that, right? And then aloe does not only internal digestion, but also helps with heart health. And it's natural hydrating. I think that's another really important factor with Exodus, is we were doing research on women over 40. And the women over 40, they all have similar health conditions and issues. In fact, even men, our cells start shrinking, and as we get older. And so this actually hydrates, aloe hydrates your cells. And so they're getting more the water that they need. And water is obviously very important to our health. So those are awesome. The barley grass, we talked about the nutrients, right? Why those are so important. And then wheatgrass is almost all cancer, natural cancer organizations use wheatgrass as part of juicing because of the oxidation capabilities of it. So it really helps oxidize the bloodstream. You get oxygen in the bloodstream, and that cancer can't survive. So wheatgrass is a very, very important component for a lot of natural health in cancer treatments. And then we talked about this bad boy, right? Molecular hydrogen, that super antioxidant promoting health. And then, it's always amazing for athletes. Look at these people. These are all people that love Exodus, right? Terry Harrison is just amazing specimen. Talia, she loves the product. Jody is a big user, and Kim Harris. These guys are just flipping amazing folks, but they do it because of those benefits, right? Of the biblical ingredients help athletes to recover. It's very, very good recovery product, so you can get out and do the next activity again, but it helps reduce that inflammation and stress. So it's really, really, really good for the human body. Even Terrell Owens, I don't know if any of you know Terrell Owens, but the old NFL football player, not old, he's still an amazing specimen. You look at him now, he plays pickleball all the time, and just amazing specimen. But he's a big supporter of this particular product. So Exodus is super cool. Let's go back to me on the presentation. Where'd I go? So, all right, I can't see myself, but that's okay. There we go. All right, so I just wanted to finish off with the molecular hydrogen. So important to the human body, and very excited about how that's helping people. And then I wanted to give you kind of some insight into what we're doing with the Biohackingville podcast and where we're headed with that. I think you're going to be real excited because we got some amazing guests lined up. They're really going to be, we're going to learn a lot from, and that's what I want to do, right? I want to bring in information that's very impactful to you, and resources that are very impactful for you. So just what today we showed, there's 3 resources that I shared. I would say 100% free, right? Go to hydrogenstudies.com, molecularhydrogenstudies.com, molecularhydrogeninstitute.org. And those 3 resources are just very beneficial. And there's lots of things. You have people that have health issues, go research will hydrogen help, because hydrogen is abundant. And there's a lot of it, and there's lots of ways to get it in your body, right? You can inhale it. You can take the water tablets. You can do the hydrogen water bottles, and you can do saline injections of hydrogen. There's lots of ways to utilize it and benefit from it. Or if you want to try Exodus is a great way to get it into the body. But it's just resources that I want to make sure you're aware of, because it's really, really impactful and really, really helping people. So that's what the heart of Biohackingville is to get people in a community and have resources that are available to you. So I'm putting together an actual community site called biohackingville.com. If you go there now, you just sign up for my newsletter. I'm going to be sending out a newsletter every week that talks about specific Biohackingville topics and some really exciting components. So go sign up to biohackingville.com, and you'll get on the newsletter now. In a few weeks, I'm very excited to roll out biohackingville.com. There's going to be lots of resources there. If you're interested in any biohacking topic, there's going to be information about those. I'm also working on creating some AI tools that will have the ability for you to ask questions about any biohackingville or biohacking topic. And then it's going to have experts in there who are trained on all biohacking modalities, all biohacking capabilities. And, if you like breathing techniques, right, there's an incredible gentleman named Wim Hof. And if you follow him, he's got specific breathing techniques and methodologies that he teaches and does. And he has a plethora of information that's free information about how to do his protocols. And so we have that information, or we will, in our community there. And then integrative oncology, something I'm very passionate about, that I want to get just all natural health resources from a cancer perspective. And how do we integrate the standard of care in the United States with these innovative practices like that are going on in Tijuana. And so if you follow me on social media, you'll see I've just been down to Tijuana getting some treatments specifically for my health issue that I'm winning the battle of. So that's exciting. So Biohackingville is coming. And then we're also creating some really fun tools that allow you to track, a lot of biohacking capabilities. Like one of the products that we've talked about in the past is a red light therapy products. And red light therapy, there's lots of information about red light within our community. We really believe in red light as a really important component. In fact, we have a 4-pillar system. It's called the Light Code. You're going to hear a lot about. The Light Code is a book that I'm writing, and I'll have out relatively soon, that talks about the 4 pillars of health. And so very stoked about that. But as part of that process, I'm also building software that allows you to track your sessions and track your, like women who are worried about wrinkles, they have a face mask, and that face mask, you can take pictures of yourself before treatments and after treatments and see it. We're running out of time. The podcast is coming to an end, but I'm super duper excited about the future of Biohackingville podcast and what we're doing with this community, biohackingville.com. And I'm just blessed to have you here listening to me, and excited to help you in any way that I can. So with that, I just want you to just be excited about your life. You have breath in your lungs. God has a plan for your life. Biohack, believe and become. God bless.
Remember, if you have air in your lungs today, God has a plan for your life. Believe, biohack, become.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Join the community and get the show notes at biohackingville.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at Biohackingville. Until next time, believe, biohack, become.